Hello viewers, in this episode we explore the P75 computer a bit further and we install PC-DOS and Windows 3.11 from scratch. No worries, the machine isn't broken. It just takes about 20 seconds from power on to showing something on the display. It finished counting memory and shows errors 162 and 163. This is likely due to a flat battery. We need to boot the reference disk to clear these errors. I replaced the defective floppy drive with a GoTek floppy emulator. The USB stick contains the IBM P75 reference disk image, which I select by pressing on the eject button. We accept to correct the issue automatically by pressing Enter. One of the issues cleared. Now we boot the ref disk again to set time and date. We quickly review the system configuration to make sure we have no issues there. Then we start the PC-DOS installation. In the last episode, I showed you the machine's internals. It has a ZuluSCSI hard disk emulator to replace the noisy IBM drive. I created an empty disk image on the SD card with exactly 1 GB size, because the IBM SCSI BIOS does not support larger disks than that. For what we have in mind, this is totally fine. The machine greets us with this nice animation. I select the first disk from the PC-DOS installation set and let the computer boot from it. Now we need to partition the hard disk with F-disk. It offers to use all of the 1024 megs. I create a smaller C partition with only 256 megs and leave the rest untouched. After that, the system reboots and formats the drive to finally start the DOS installation. I'm speeding this up for you. Now we need the 6 PC-DOS installation disks. We set some language preference and accept the defaults otherwise. We do not want any of the additional programs, so we disable all of them. The installation goes smoothly with occasional disk changes. By the magic of editing, the whole process is pretty quick. I only need to press the eject button to move to the next disk image in the folder. I'm attaching the config file below in case you can make use of it. PC-DOS is now installed. Time to add some IBM-specific drivers. We start with the IBM XGA 2.12 driver disk. The install program will copy the XGA stuff for DOS and other programs over to the hard disk. We only need options 1, 2, 4 and 6 because we do not need the AutoCAD drivers. Now we need the XGA utilities disk. It contains the P75.exe program that allows us to switch between the external monitor and the integrated plasma display. We just copy everything to the C drive. Calling the P75 program disables the external monitor. Calling it again with the /U parameter switches back. Next is the IBM SCSI CD-ROM driver disk. We do not use it in this video, but need it in the next episode, so let's do a complete install. You can get all the needed driver disks from the Ardent website, which is linked below. PC-DOS is now complete. Let's move on with the Windows install. For this, I copy the 8 disks to a folder on the C drive to avoid constantly swapping back and forth. This is also a convenient method for later changing things in Windows, since we can just point it to the folder when it asks for an installation disk. I'll speed this up a little so you guys don't have to sit through this. All 8 disks are copied, so let's run the setup program from inside the folder on the C drive. This flickers really badly on the plasma screen, so let's stop and switch over to the external monitor. I'll again speed the install up from the original 13 minutes to a few seconds by the magic of editing. We perform a standard install with default options. We'll add customizations later. The installer pulls the files from the folder on the hard drive, so I don't have to swap disks. Very convenient. I select to install the Windows networking components with the default protocols. Later, we'll add the Microsoft TCP IP stack, which is a separate disk. The Etherlink 3 drivers are included on the Windows disks, so we don't need a separate disk for that. The Windows installation is complete, so let's reboot and try it out. Then we'll do some customizations. I didn't speed this up to let you see how the Windows experience is on this computer. The reason why it takes this long to start is the networking components. Without them, I would not have to sign into the Windows network, which isn't available at this point. We need to add the TCP/IP protocol to make it work. But first, let's check out Solitaire. Now let's install the Microsoft 32-bit TCP/IP driver. We need a separate disk for this, as it is not included in the Windows 3.11 installation media. I used the Windows File Manager to copy the TCP32B file from the A drive over to the hard disk. Then I run it from the folder on the C drive, which extracts its contents. We can now use the Network Setup control panel to add the TCP/IP protocol and to remove unwanted components. To do that, I click Add Protocol and point it to the folder where we extracted the file. Once done, I remove the SPX protocol, and then I select the TCP/IP protocol to configure it. I set it to DHCP and enter the gateway and the Win server addresses. Guess what I have to do after that? Yep, it needs another reboot. If I unplug the external monitor, the computer will automatically use the plasma screen. Let's continue with that to bring in some more Windows drivers for the XGA2 card and the Sound Blaster clone. Here, I need the XGA driver disk again to copy over the Windows drivers to a folder on the hard disk. I named it C drivers and I used the File Manager to copy the files. Now let's continue with the Sound Blaster drivers for DOS and Windows. We need the Sound Blaster MCV driver disks 1 and 2. We run the inst.hd program from the disks.
Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there.
Okay, that tested fine. Back in Windows, we copy the Sound Blaster Pro driver to the hard disk. It is a zip file CT5330 from which we need a specific file. This is the reason why we need the file. Creative updated the VDMAD.386 file for the Sound Blaster Pro, which addresses the microchannel timeout issue. After rebooting once more, we extract the zip file contents. Then we run the install program, but we stop it before it makes any changes to the system configuration, because we want to keep the Sound Blaster driver that we added before. Then we copy the VDMAD.386 file to the C Windows System folder. Now we need to edit the system ini file in the Windows folder. In the 386 ENH section, we change the second line to the name of the file we just copied. Then we try to start Windows. This is better, but the startup sound is looping. This points to a problem with the interrupt configuration. Probably I have the card configured for interrupt 5 instead of 7. Let's check. And another reboot. Yes, that fixed it. The startup sound is now like it should be. Let's now continue with setting up the XGA2 card. This needs to be done from the command line setup utility, so let's exit Windows and continue from the DOS prompt. We select Other from the list of graphics cards, and then we point it to where we copied the files from the XGA driver disk. Alright, here's the caveat. We now activated the XGA2 driver, but we're still on the plasma screen, which is connected to a regular XGA adapter. So we need to plug in the external monitor and reboot. After another reboot, we have the XGA control panel available. To use it, we set the system to use the XGA 2.12 driver, and then we can tweak the display resolution, color depth, and other things. It's important to select a monitor that is close to the one in use. I select the VESA 20-inch display, which my LCD screen should handle without issues. And here we go, a nice 1024 by 768 screen in 256 colors. Let's tweak the desktop settings a bit. It's important to pick the right screensaver. Isn't that beautiful? Now let's copy from games from the network drive. I'm sure you guys want to see Doom on this box. All files are copied. Back in DOS, let's check out Doom. First on the external monitor. I'm not speeding this up, so you can see how the game performs on the P75 with the DX266 MHz processor. It's pretty playable even in full screen. I'm just missing sound. Maybe I misconfigured something. Now, how does this look on the plasma screen? Let's check it out. We switch over with the P75 utility. Now this is really close to hell on this red glowing screen. Let's wrap it up for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. In the next episode, I plan to explore Windows 3.11 a bit more and install some productivity apps. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to cover something specific. If you find this content interesting, please like and subscribe. Until next time.